Lord, just open mine eyes that I may see. Lead me, oh Lord, won't you lead me?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Up and down the country this week, well, certainly in the last 4 or 5 days, we will have heard the countdown going on around the towns and the cities and the villages. We switched ours on in Wensfield, actually on my birthday, 29th. Very nice. And it's a wonderful scene to behold. On come the twinkling lights. And we had a carousel down there, we had the local radio down there, but most importantly, what you see is the wonderment upon the small children's faces as they look upon the lights being switched on. The wonderment and hope what Santa may bring for them. We had a nativity scene set up on the St Thomas's Church, which is very nice to see. And it's lovely, isn't it? You hear the countdown and the shout goes up. Merry Christmas. But my friends, the reality is, that was the undercard, wasn't it? If you go to a show, any show you may go to, you will have the support act first. They will come on first. They will entertain you for as long as needs be until the main act comes. And so these celebrations that have happened all week are the support acts. They are the undercard. For today, today is the main event. Christmas starts today with the lighting of one candle. Today, Christmas begins. So what is Advent? I'm sure we've all discussed it from children upwards, and we all know what it is. But it does us no harm just to recount just for a second. For to most people who have some idea of Christian belief or believe in God, the initial predominance of Advent in the next 4 weeks is the birth of Christ. You'll ask a child and say, oh, it's getting ready for Jesus being born in the stable. And for most people, that is predominantly it. But we all know there's a little more. We have a dual celebration. We don't just celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, but we also celebrate his coming again, the second coming. It's a dual celebration for us, and it starts today. There's the anticipation, there's the expectation, but most of all, there's preparation. Are we prepared? Are you prepared for Advent? Are you prepared for Christmas? And I don't mean with your turkeys and your tinsel, because I'm sure you may be already. I don't usually do mine till well into it, but we won't go into that. The preparation. Are we prepared for Advent? Well, we heard in our first reading, didn't we? From Isaiah. By the means of Isaiah, God spoke to the people. Now, the scholars tell us at the time that Isaiah makes this announcement, that Judah is still under the Babylonian exile. It's still in the midst. It's almost over, though, it suggests, from chapter 40 onwards. It's almost over, and Isaiah speaks to the people. Well, God speaks to them by Isaiah. He makes them aware, as the Israelites were hoping, that a God would come. The anticipation, they've been in exile, they've been under persecution. They're hoping for God to show himself to them again. And we know that's how it was at the time for the Hebrews and those at that point. When would the Messiah come? The hope, the anticipation. God tells them by the means of Isaiah that he would be revealed. The Lord would be revealed. There was hope for them. But more importantly for our topic this morning, Verse 3, God said by the means of Isaiah, prepare the way for the Lord. Prepare the way for the Lord. So what did he mean? What did he mean? Prepare the way. Well, when we think about the word preparation, it has two meanings, doesn't it? Two meanings to prepare. We can prepare in as much as to make things ready. We'll make them ready, we'll prepare them. But also, you can be prepared. What are you prepared to do? What are you willing to do? So we'll take a look at both. But first and foremost, in the way that Isaiah gave across at this point, it is suggested that in Old Testament times, to prepare was to set the way for a monarch to approach. When a monarch was approaching a village or town, representatives would go ahead of him. Prepare, the king's coming, the king is coming. Make way. And it's very much like today, I suppose, too, isn't it? I once heard Billy Connolly, and I'm sure you've heard him say this joke. He said, the Queen must think everywhere smells of fresh paint, because just in front of her, somebody's always painting a wall just to make sure it looks neat and tidy before she gets there. There's preparation taking place for the monarch to arrive. And it was the same in the Old Testament times. Prepare the way, the king is coming. So it's necessary for preparation for God's arrival. But further to that, it said, make straight in the wilderness. Make straight in the wilderness. When we think of a wilderness, the first thing that comes to my mind is these survival programs you'll see with Bear Grylls on the TV. Cutting the way through the jungle. There's a wilderness there. Brambles are across you need your axe and you're chopping your way through, and the thorns and all this. It's a wilderness. You have to cut your way through. So if it says to us, the good book tells us, prepare the way, make straight through the wilderness. What is our wilderness today? What do we have to do? What do we have to prepare in the next 4 weeks as Christians? Well, we prepare, first and foremost, for the birth of Christ, Christmas Day. And the wilderness that we face is the criticism, isn't it? Christmas isn't what it used to be. It's not what it used to be. It's all commercialism now. It's all what you can buy, rather than the birth of Christ, which is true in many respects. So what can we do to prepare the way, to clear the wilderness? What can we do? Well, verse 9, which we haven't read, of chapter 40 states what we need to do. Because Isaiah asked the same. He said, what should I do? It says, cry out. Verse 9 says, call out with a loud voice, Zion. Announce the good news. Speak out and do not be afraid. Tell the towns that their God is coming. We are to shout out in the next 4 weeks. When Christmas becomes too commercialised, when we ourselves may be thinking too much about what we need to buy, shout out, God is coming. And how can we do this? Because I do appreciate, not all of us are big mouths. We don't all go around shouting and ringing a bell like, oh yay, oh yay. There are ways in which we can do it. The way in which I endeavour to do it and try every year my very best to do is the most quietest way, but it still shouts loud. Christmas cards. I always endeavour to buy a religious Christmas card, one which has the nativity scene upon the front. It shouts it out from the card, and I buy them especially for people who are non-believers. It shouts out to them, the birth of Christ. Here is your God. But in spite of this, you still have the scholars and the clever ones who give you a little bit of criticism. Oh, it's not about religion anymore, Lee. It's not about religion anymore, they'll say. That's just old times now. And I say, did you know, in fact, they'll say, very smugly, did you know that some suggest that Jesus wasn't even born on the 25th of December. Yes, some suggest that he was born April or March. Some scholars have said it might have been April or March. And if that's the case, they say, well, this is just a pagan festival. It's nothing more than that. Buy your present, stop moaning. If Jesus was born in March or April, do you know what I say? Do you know what I say? I don't care. I don't care if Jesus was born in March and April. I really don't. You see, on Friday, it was my birthday. And we have other birthdays coming up this week. It was my birthday. I was 46. I know I don't look it, but I was 46. That's right. It was my birthday. Now, if the good Lord should decide that next year is my last year upon this earth, and I should leave this and go on my merry way to the heavenly home in above, and somebody turns to you and says, you know, I found out that Lee was really born in July the 14th. Does that mean I wasn't born? Does that mean I never stood here and never stood before you? We were never friends? Of course it doesn't. It doesn't matter if I was born July the 14th, 29th of November when I was born, or 15th of March. I was born. The Lord was born. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, my friends. We celebrate the 25th of December, and we celebrate that day. But I say, let's celebrate every day. Every day is the Lord's birthday for me. And I'll tell you something else. Why? Because if the Lord was born the 24th of March, that's okay. The Queen has 2 birthdays. If our good Lord can't have 2 birthdays, who can have 2 birthdays? Jesus Christ is entitled 4 birthdays if he wants. We celebrate them all, and we prepare for them all. You see, the people were prepared. The Israelites were preparing. They were in strife. They'd suffered a lot. And they wanted their Messiah. And God told them the Lord would be revealed. And was he as good as his word? He was as good as his word. God gave his son in that manger, as we know. And we shall cover undoubtedly in the next 4 weeks. The hope that was there was answered. The Lord was born. And we prepared to tell everybody and celebrate the birth of Jesus. But furthermore than that, my friends, I said it's a dual celebration, and it is. Because the Lord was born, and he came with great news for us again. He came, he lived. And we heard in our second reading, our New Testament reading today, what the Lord had to say. He told the disciples, he told the people, be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you're not expecting him. He told the people he would come again. He would come again. So what we have to ask ourselves now is the second type of preparation. Are we prepared for the second coming of Christ? Are we prepared in our hearts, our souls, and our minds for when he comes again? The beauty of it is that some may look upon the reading and think, well, this is a bit of a threat maybe. You must be ready. Those of you who are not ready, well, it's true, it has its moments. But for Christians like you and I, for believers, it is not a time of fear. It's not a time of threat. It's a time of joy. The very thought, the expectation, the preparation that one day we will meet the Lord again. He will come again. We prepare our Christian lives by doing as he professes us to do. We follow his paths, his ways, his words, his teachings. That's how we prepare for his second coming. That's how we can prepare over the Advent period, being compassionate and loving to our fellow man, especially at this time, especially these next 4 weeks. Let us show our fellow people what we can do as the children of Christ. By doing that, we prepare ourselves for that wonderful, joyful anticipation of Christ's second coming, when we will see him face to face. My friends, you may have had idols in your life. I don't know if you know, I'm a big Elvis fan. Has everybody noticed that at all? I never met the man face to face. But I'll meet Jesus face to face. Just for a second, just think about that. Whoever you may have been your idol, sportsman, entertainer, you never met them. You will meet Jesus. That should warm your hearts, the preparation that comes with that. So my friends, as the lights were lit around the nation this week, as they prepare by the switching on in the streets, and we enjoy them all, we should prepare too. For we should be prepared not only to celebrate the birth of Christ, but we should celebrate the second coming. And we shall say, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. God bless you, and Amen.